Should we stick in the Atlantic and hop over to the Iser plan and see what he's got going on? Because they were handing out money like nothing. It was Oprah.
Who are we talking first? Andrew Copp?
Let's go Andrew Copp, yeah.
I mean, the Atlantic is heating up. I love Andrew Copp as a player because this dude can do it all. He's in the upper echelon of offensive metrics, in the 78th percentile of offense. I mean, among all forwards, that's pretty good offensive metrics. Not only that, he's above average defensively. He's in, I think, the 55th, 56th percentile. If you want to call him average. The reason why Andrew Copp is such a valuable player to any team is, number one, he plays the center and the wing position extremely well. Number two, he's in the 100th percentile of penalty killing. Like, the dude is one of the best penalty killers in the league. He is a five-tool player. I mean, especially on a team that, once again, like Ottawa, is trying to build credibility to one day attract that big-time UFA. This is a guy that you want to do it. I mean, the term isn't terrible. He's only 27. When it's done, he'll be 32. And at 32, I mean, a left winger, which you'll probably be by then, can still be a good left winger at 32.
Yeah.
The money isn't bad either. I mean, a second liner who scores 20 goals in the NHL makes $5 million, and that's what he signed for. I think just over 5. Last year, he had 21 goals and 53 points. I mean, he missed 10 games. So when you prorate that, that's probably at about 60-ish points. I mean, at $5 million, I'm paying a guy like that. He's a very gritty player. I mean, I like the move from all that perspective, but especially in the Iser plan, I think the reason he did this is because if you want this team to start being seen legit for UFAs, I mean, this is a guy to get that done. I really, really like this move. We saw, once again, the New York Rangers do this with Perron. I mean, this is on a much lower scale, but even if you consider this as a Detroit Red Wings fan as an overpay, you're willing to do that because it builds credibility for a Detroit Red Wings team that has been really bad over the last couple of years.
It's true.
So, yeah, I like the deal all the way around. What do you think?
Yeah, at first it jumped out to me. I thought it was a bit of an overpay at first, but then when you outline those kind of stats and you also outline that Detroit's trying to, like, you know, not just be a bottom feeder forever. Like, there comes a point where you have to say, okay, we're going to try and make some progress here. And I think a lot of these moves, but this one especially represents that. And even if it is an overpay, like objectively an overpay, Detroit has so much cap space that it's really not. And 3 years when the cap goes up, 2-3 years when the cap goes up, it's really going to be a non-factor. So I think it is a good deal. But that wasn't it. They also signed David Perron, who is another fantasy god. I guess Stevie White plays fantasy and doesn't want to be. He wants to be a little bit like maybe like a little Pete Rose. He wants to bet on his own guys. But maybe we'll save a little more about fantasy talk for when we get to back to our fantasy face-off days. But he signed 2 years, $4.75 million per. I think that's decent value for a guy who he's hovered around 60 points for the last 3 seasons. Scored 27 goals.
That's the big one.
Last year, right? He's a goal scorer. And the risk, I guess, for a guy who's 34 is that his production drops off. But I think based on the way he turned it on at the end of last season, there was and you know this because I traded him to you in fantasy. He was like one of the best players in the league in terms of like offensive production for the last, 2 months of the season. Mm-hmm. So I think the fact that he progressed rather than regressed throughout the duration of the year shows that even at 34, you can probably bank on him still being decent offensively. And plus, he doesn't really generate. He's never been a good skater. Like, he's old, doesn't generate his chances off the rush. He's a perimeter guy. Get me the puck and I'll score. That's what he does. Mm-hmm. That doesn't really go away with age as dramatically as maybe like the skating does, as we see with some other players around the league. So I think he's honestly like, this is a great signing. And funnily enough, this is something I did not expect. And this is why we love things that Jay Fresh provides for us. He's in the 94th percentile of defense. And I didn't know David Perron. Listen, and that might be some of the system that he plays and some of his line mates. Like if he plays with Ryan O'Reilly, one of the best defensive centers in the league, I'm sure that beefs it up. But let's say even if it is inflated and he's like maybe somewhere in the 80th, that's still an improvement for this Detroit Red Wings team who have been atrocious defensively. Mm-hmm. And on a young wings team with the guys like Lucas Raymond to learn from him. Like I think this is a great move, and the fact that you only got him at 2 years, you don't even have to pay him for that long. I think it's a great deal.
This was one of my favorite deals of free agency as well. Like, I think NHL GMs are forgetting the fact that David Perron is like one of the premier scorers in the league. The dude put up 27 goals last year and missed times. Not only that, like you said, he scores at the most important times. Like, if there's one word to describe David Perron in my eyes, it's clinical. Like, the dude was scoring in bunches when they needed to get into the playoffs, right? Because they were pushing for either winning the division or being
home ice. Getting home ice.
That's what it was. And then in the Colorado series, he was phenomenal. I think he put up a hat trick in one of those big games. Like, he scored at really big times. The AAV is great. The term is great. And not only that, like you said, you hit the nail on the head. His play style is the least risk in terms of the contract going down the gutter. I mean, this probably isn't a great comparison, but he's like a much lower scale Alexander Ovechkin. Like, he scores goals at great times. He's a power forward. I mean, I didn't think that he played great defense, but apparently he does. But those types of players with a clinical shot that can score anywhere from the ice are the ones that you want to pay later as they age, because that's not a guy who relies on skating and then all of a sudden he can't skate anymore and it's a terrible contract. I love the deal. And even if he doesn't score next year, I mean, he provides leadership. It's only a 2-year deal. I mean,
exactly. The risk is so low on this.
Great move. But I mean, now that we're talking about, we just said that Steve Yzerman made 2 great deals.
Yeah.
I think Steve Yzerman's one of the best GMs in the league. Like, there's a lot to say about him outlining those 2 cups that the Tampa Bay Lightning won. The deal that he made for Ben Chariot, it comes out of left field. What was it? 4 years at $4 and a bit million or something like that?
4.75, I think. He's getting almost $5 million.
Unbelievably bad term. Unbelievably bad AAV. I mean, we keep saying this. I mean, obviously it's more likely that we're incorrect than NHL GMs, but now when one of the best NHL GMs also validates the play style of Ben Chariot, I don't know. I'm starting to question all my hockey knowledge. Like, what do these people see in him?
Yeah, this one was a head scratcher for me. Like, maybe Steve White just needs people to think that he's human so that he can go fleece more GMs if they think he's stupid all of a sudden. Maybe he's just like galaxy braining, playing 4D chess, and we're out here just criticizing him. But I just don't think that's like. I think every GM has their blind spot. They have their blind spots for these guys. Good Branson got 4x4 in Columbus. Like, these types of play, I don't know. There's a premium for defensemen who cross-check people and can't make a breakout pass. I don't know why that money's available for them. But like I said with the Perron deal, I guess it's an overpay 100%. But maybe on a team like Detroit, like, he didn't really care because he's like, whatever, we're not going to be touching the cap anytime soon. By the time we have to like pay the Raymond and the Siders, this deal will be pretty much done, or the other deals will be done. But I still don't think that excuses this deal, because it's pretty atrocious.
I mean, maybe they just want someone from Mo Seider to learn from, but unless I'm crazy, Ben Chariot's going to learn more from Seider than the other way around.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content, and find the link to our full podcast and all our socials in the description down below.
Also, don't forget to turn on those notifications to get live updates on new videos that we release.